Hey guys, it's Telis here. Welcome to Light's Hope Chapel. This is the first of the Paladin videos, taking a look at the class overviews for Paladins in World of Warcraft Legion. The first one we will be looking at is going to be Holy Paladin. It is the first Paladin spec that I feel that is kind of in a safe place and won't be having any major changes, so I can go ahead and do this video without fear of you know, it changing in the future too drastically. Um, Lights Hope Chapel, this is kind of underneath Lights Hope Chapel. This is really cool. When they first announced this in, like at the beginning when Legion was announced, I expected it to be kind of just like a dark dungeon of sorts, and they've done a really cool job of, yeah, there's some kind of like temple areas like in the back here. This is kind of where you enter and so forth. But as you get towards like the little chapel church that they have up here, it really opens up and it gets really bright, and you have kind of all the statues of famous paladins around here. You have there's Turlian, if I don't think I pronounced that correctly. Uther's in the back there. Lady Mara Fordragon, I don't know if that's Bulvar Fordragon's sister or mother. She's back there. And then you got like Alexander Mograine and Vindicator Murad. So they got like this really cool setup here, and this is where like all the great paladins are buried as well. You can see several tombs here. So it's a really cool setup for the Class Water Hall, and honestly, this is one of my absolute favorites. I think they did a really great job with this. So this is the Holy Paladin video. We're going to be looking, our videos. The first part of this two-part series is going to be looking at the changes to Holy Paladin abilities and looking at the actual artifact weapon. And then after this, we will be looking at the PvE and PvP talents. That will be in the second video. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. If you guys notice on my back here, before I start talking about abilities, I will go in a removed, changed, and then new kind of order so you can see how Holy Paladin has changed. But before I can even go any further, I gotta point out, you guys might think it's kind of odd. The artifact weapon I'm holding here is a two-handed mace. And it is correct. You will be using a two-handed mace as a Holy Paladin in World of Warcraft Legion. That's a little strange, but at the same time, it's kind of cool. So, no more shield, and no more shield and sword or shield and mace. Instead, you're going to be having a two-handed mace to go with your Holy Paladin. Now, as a whole, Holy Paladins have a lot of changes to their abilities, a lot of removed abilities. There's a lot of changes. However, I do like to say that the play style, at least from what I remember as playing as a Holy Paladin, at least in PvP, is somewhat the same. In terms of how it is in PvE, I think it'll change a little bit because its mastery has been changed. So with that, that'll give you kind of a different play style. But overall, I think Holy Paladin will be pretty familiar to what you're used to. Now, the biggest change for Holy Paladins is that Holy Charge is gone. So Holy Charges were initially introduced as a secondary resource for Paladins. And Blizzard basically, the whole reason behind that is it was mostly focused on ret and a little bit on protection. But mostly ret because they didn't like these specs in the game that had, I guess you could say, like they didn't have to worry about any type of resource. And ret really didn't have to worry about mana. It wasn't an issue for them. They never had to worry about mana. They can continue to do, whatever they wanted, and all they had to worry about were their cooldowns. So that's why they brought in Holy Power. Well, Holy Paladins have to worry about mana. That's kind of the thing with healers. And so they're like, you know what, you don't need Holy Power anymore. So they took away Holy Power, and instead now Holy Paladins will be using, just mana as their base, kind of resource management. This is kind of universal across all healers. All healers basically have made it so that if you're not a healer, mana really isn't an issue for you. I think mages are really the only class in which that's an issue, maybe warlocks as well, but for the most part, mana is not an issue for other DPS specs. It's truly a healing specific now kind of, it's a healing specific resource that in which healers really have to monitor and manage their their actual mana output. And in in addition to, you know, this new focus on making sure that healers manage their mana, they're also bringing back some of the mana restoration abilities for paladins to, I mean, for well, healers in general to have. Stuff like Innervate is back for a balanced druid and a restoration druid. However, that can only be used on healers, so they're making sure that really truly mana is a healer only thing. As you can see, as I've been kind of looking around, some of these paladins, some of the really epic paladins that you've met throughout the time are all here. We have Crusade Commander, Eligor Dawnbringer, and if you've forgotten it, Eadric the Pure. He's actually one of the people in the Argent tournament, one of the bosses in the Argent tournament, and actually the main guy that you talk to upon creating your paladin is going to be this guy, Lord Maxwell Tyrosus. So it's really cool. You know, it's different as a paladin compared to the other classes. Like, you go to a hunter class hall and you're like surrounded by all these great hunters, and it's kind of cool, but paladins really do have the name recognition. There are so many prominent characters in the Warcraft universe that are paladins, so it's really cool to be surrounded by all of them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the abilities. I've been rambling on about how really cool Lights Out Chapel is, and let's go ahead and get into this. Holy Charge changes have gone through. You guys know that. There is a big mastery change, which we will be getting to. Let's go ahead and get through the removed abilities first. First of all, Denounce is gone, and this is really due to a playstyle change, which I will get to when we get to the new mastery. And you'll understand why Denounce is gone. But just know that for now, Denounce is gone. Devotion Aura is gone. It actually is going to reappear as a talent. I actually have it on right now. And it's kind of the old auras, like the basic, like, just like, we have flat buff. I kind of wish it still had the really cool symbol that was underneath you, that showed which aura you have, but I don't think Blizzard's going to bring those back. Hammer of Wrath has been removed. This is disappointing. I really did, as a rep paladin, like having that execute, but Blizzard has decided that the only execute that should be in the game is the one actually named execute, and that's for warriors. So they've really, at Killshot, you know, Hammer of Wrath, all of them just have been removed. I think the only one that's still there is Shadow Word Death, and even then it's kind of a little bit different. Different type of execute. You can actually use it when it's not in a certain range, except etc, etc, and it like only resets cooldown if you actually kill the target. So I wouldn't really call it an execute. It's not like Killshot or Hammer of Wrath. So executes have been removed. Holy Radiance has been removed. This is kind of sketchy. Holy Radiance was kind of a major AoE healing, and it's now been removed. And it's, well, as we go through these abilities, you'll kind of see how Holy Paladins are going to play. But I think that Holy Paladins, their positioning is going to be key. How you position your Paladin is really kind of the big thing about Holy Paladins in general. The other classes, basically, they just fire out their skills. It doesn't matter about their positioning. I think this is the one class in which your positioning is really going to make a difference, and they're changing abilities a little bit so that you're going to have to pay attention to your positioning as a Holy Paladin. Righteous Fury has been removed. There's no reason for a Holy Paladin to have a threat generator, so it has been removed. Seal of Command and Seal of Insight have been removed, so seals are now gone. Blizzard has gotten rid of seals, which is really odd because that was like a hallmark of Paladins since forever, having seals on yourselves. And it's really weird to see it gone. I mean, if I could remember all the seals that we've had and all the changes that we've had, there've been a lot. I mean, if you can even remember back to all the way back to when Judgment actually consumed a seal and you had to reapply the seal each time. Paladins go back a far way, so it's kind of disappointing that seals are gone. But it really, in their current state, the way they are in Warlords of Draenor, basically seals have just become, you know, like static buff, and you almost never get rid of it. Turn Evil has been removed. This is going the way of Soothe. So both Soothe for Druids and Turn Evil for Paladins were something that, you know, Paladins kind of used a bunch, and they really don't have access to it anymore. Just so I can double check to make sure, I'm pretty sure it's gone from all Paladin specs. No Paladin spec has access to Turn Evil anymore, and I am correct in that. It is all gone. So it's just been removed. I don't know why Blizzard decided that Holy Paladins or any Paladin should never have it, but it's gone now. Word of Glory is actually gone as well. I mean, that was a Holy Power specific ability for the most part, so basically Blizzard just said, nah, we don't need it. We'll give you other stuff, Holy Paladins. It's actually a Ret talent now, and that's the only way you can get it. So even Rets don't have a baseline. They actually have to, kind of spec into it. Daybreak has been removed. That was tied into Radiance, so it makes sense that it's gone. Improved Forbearance. It's now baseline, so you won't see that in your spellbook, but it's now baseline. Sanctified Light has been removed. I believe that was just a base stat increase, which they've gotten rid of that for all classes. It's basically been removed, so you don't have to worry about that. And Supplication has been removed. I think that was the ability to allow you to get kind of some extra healing whenever you were able to kill an enemy and so forth. So that has been removed. And then last, Mastery, Illuminated Healing has been removed. That was the one dealing with multi-strikes and so forth. Multi-strike is a stat that's been removed from the game, so it'd be silly for to have a mastery based on multi-strike. And the new mastery is really going to dictate how you're going to play as a Holy Paladin. It's really different. It's kind of giving you a new feel, and it's kind of explain why you have a two-handed hammer as a weapon as a Holy Paladin. I just realized this as I'm going through this video. I cannot remember if Holy Paladins actually had blessings or not. I can't remember if that had been made ret specific by this time or it had gone completely already, but just so you know, all regular just raid-wide buffs have been removed from the game. So if your blessings now being gone, that should be expected for everyone. Mark of the Wild, Arcane Brilliance, everything that was just a static raid buff has been gone, and that's because originally you had certain classes that you needed to bring to fill out a nice comprehensive raid, and then all of a sudden Blizzard was worried about classes not being taken, so they started giving everyone raid buffs. And then once everyone had raid buffs and there was so much overlapping, it was like, why even have them anymore? So they just got rid of it, which I have no problem with. I really hated jumping out of a graveyard in PvP and having to buff myself, and now I don't have to worry about that anymore because it's all been just like baselined. So, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the changed abilities. And I'm going to be using these abilities because Melee has really seen an overhaul in their ability changes. They really have seen an overhaul in their changes. However, some of these will be the same. They haven't really gotten to changing how ranged spell effects works. So if I use like a normal healer or so forth, it should still look technically the way it is. But that is actually something that's going to be on their objective. They want to change, kind of update the visuals on spell casting and ranged abilities. For the actual launch of World of Warcraft Legion, though, they've been mostly worried about making sure that they've changed all of the melee sound effects and spell visuals. So I will actually try and demonstrate as much as I can, just so you know, as I go through these change abilities. So first, Avenging Wrath, its cooldown has been reduced to 2 minutes from 3 minutes, but its increased healing has been reduced to 35% from 100%. So there's, I would say, a pretty big nerf for Avenging Wrath there. Still functions pretty much exactly the same. You got the nice big golden wings there, so if you really like that, don't worry, it's still there. And that 20% critical strike chance is still there. Beacon of Light. Good old Beacon of Light still functions the same. I believe the sound effect is still the same. I have my sound turned down so that it doesn't come through doubling onto my microphone. But it still works the same, or it still looks the same. However, some things have been changed. It now only heals a secondary target for 40% instead of 50%. Basically, that means that the enhancement that you got in World of Warcraft Legion is gone. It's being reverted. They're not giving it to you for free like they have with other enhancements. It's just gone. Also, know that Holy Light or Flash of Light on Beacon will now only refund 30% of your mana as opposed to 40% of your mana, so a little bit of a nerf there. Crusader Strike will no longer generate holy charges. As I mentioned, basically holy charges are gone, so that shouldn't be something you're too surprised about. But I do need to show you the new kind of sound effect and so forth for this. So we'll go ahead and use it here. You can see it right there. And as you can see, actually melee animations for all classes have been changed as well. So I really do like what they've done there. So that is the new Crusader Strike. Divine Protection now reduces all damage instead of just magical damage. It lasts for 12 seconds, up from 8 seconds. However, it only reduces 20% of that damage as opposed to 40% of that damage. So in quick review of that, the old Divine Protection would mitigate 40% magical damage for 8 seconds. The new one now mitigates all damage, 20% of it, for 12 seconds. So a little bit more uptime on that. Still a 1 minute cooldown. I believe that's the cooldown on it. Yes, still a 1 minute cooldown. But otherwise, I honestly think this is more of a buff, especially when we start getting to the new mastery and you understand just how things are going to work. This is going to end up being a buff overall. Divine Shield no longer reduces the damage you deal. It had that kind of debuff in there that like you did like 30% less damage because you were invincible. Got rid of that. I mean, why should it be there anyways? So that's been removed. Hammer of Justice is still here and has not changed. However, I want to show you the new effect. As you can see right there, like a hammer like falls from the sky and stuns the target. So that's really cool. As I said, they are working on updating all of the visuals here. Hand of Freedom has been renamed Blessing of Freedom. In fact, let me go through this real quick. Hand of Freedom, Hand of Protection, Hand of Sacrifice have all been renamed Blessing of whatever it is, respectively. They changed it to Hand, and it was Blessing. I don't know why they did this. Like, they're like... It was originally Blessing, and then like, you know, we don't really like calling it Blessing anymore. We don't like Blessing anymore, so we'll call it Hand, and then, you know, a patch, an expansion later, they're like, you know what, the Hand thing didn't work out, so we're going to put it back on Blessing. So they're all named Blessings now. The other thing you should know is that they can now, the requirement, there's no longer any restriction on the amount of blessings on a target. So you can now have all 3 blessings on a target if you wish. So those 2 are the main changes to those. However, there are small changes to each one of them, so let's go down with them real quick. Hand of Freedom, you should know that it now lasts 8 seconds, up from 6 seconds. Really hasn't changed in the spell visual. Hand of Protection actually no longer prevents people from attacking. So as I have this up here, I should be able to attack just fine with Hand of Protection on me. Pretty cool. So nothing has changed there. Other than that, you actually have a little bit more usability out of Hand of Protection, which is pretty awesome. And then Hand of Sacrifice has been changed. Its cooldown has been increased from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. It is no longer limited by 100% of the Paladin's maximum health, but it will stop when the Paladin falls below 20% health. So, basically, just pulling up this tooltip here. So it lasts for 12 seconds, okay? Has a 3-minute cooldown. It's a little bit reduced there, but that's because of the artifact weapon. It's a 3-minute cooldown. So basically what this is saying is now, I had a character that had 20,000 health, you know, like Wrath of the Lich King days, okay? If I transferred 100% of my health, if I transferred 20% of my health, it was done, okay? Now, through that 12 seconds, as long as I can keep my personal health above 20%, that Blessing of Sacrifice, I almost said Hand of Sacrifice, will continue to be on the target for the full 12 seconds. So you can heal them for, you know, 800% of the Paladin's maximum health, okay? It doesn't matter, as long as that Paladin at no point in time ever drops below 20% health. I hope I explained that well enough for you guys. So I think it basically is going to get some more use out of it, and Hand of Sacrifice will be used more because of that. I think it's a good change, and I think it will be more useful in the battlefield. Holy Shock, its cooldown has been increased from... I'm using the numbers that are, you know, when I compare my live client versus the beta client, from 5.33 seconds to 8.48 seconds. So the cooldown's been increased by roughly 8 seconds, okay? But it still works as it functions as it normally does, and it no longer generates Holy Power because Holy Power is gone. So that's basically what you need to know. Judgment no longer requires a seal. And it now increases damage done to the target by 30% for 6 seconds from your Crusader Strike and your Holy Shock. So, first off, Judgment has a new visual, so I'll go ahead and use it here, and sound effects, so I'll use it here. You see right there, there's the new sound effect and everything. And then for those 6 seconds, my Crusader Strike, with my 2 charges on it, which I can't remember if that was baseline in the original on live servers right now, if Crusader Strike had 2 charges or not. It does now. I'm sorry, I'm just now realizing that I don't remember that actually being there or not, whether or not that was actually there. So, Crusader Strike has 2 charges, just in case I mixed up there. I apologize for that. But Judgment has a new ability, and the damage from your Crusader Strike and the Holy Shock is now increased from it. And otherwise, it functions just as Judgment has before. So, nothing really changes there. And as you can see, the nice spell visual effects now add this nice golden effect. I believe that's from Power of the Silver Hand, possibly. That may be an artifact weapon channel. We'll get to that in a second. That's pretty cool. So, with that, Lay on Hands, its cooldown has been removed. Wouldn't that be awesome if its cooldown was removed? Its cooldown has been reduced from 10 minutes to 7 minutes, so there's a 3-minute reduction there. Light of Dawn. This is what I was discussing when I said that you're going to have to start paying attention to your actual positioning as a Holy Paladin. It no longer consumes Holy Power. That should be obvious now that I've discussed the Holy Paladin changes, the Holy Power changes extensively. However, it now has a 10-second cooldown. That's kind of required because you no longer have to worry about... since you no longer have to consume Holy Power anymore, which was kind of its indirect cooldown, basically giving it a 10-second cooldown puts a restriction on it. The big thing, though, is that it now has a 15-yard target range in a cone in front of you, as opposed to a 30-yard full AoE. I know if you're a Holy Paladin diehard, this is crippling to you, because that was I remember that being a huge quality of life improvement for Holy Paladins. And to have that removed is kind of frustrating. You know, you no longer have that, that quality of life. But let me tell you that it's basically playing into what the new mastery is, which we will get to very soon. We only have one more changed ability, and then we'll get into the new Paladin abilities. But let me go ahead and show this to you. I'll show it on a healing target dummy here. And I'll just heal straight in front of me, right like there. So it just shines out in front instead of shining on top of you. Still very much somewhat similar spell visual effects. In fact, I think its spell visual effect may be back to the way it was back before they changed it to the just massive AoE. So 5 injured allies within a 15-yard frontal cone in front of you for 42,000. To give you an idea of what that's like compared to like a flash heal, flash heals for 100,000. This only heals for 42,000. So I'm not sure about this. It's such a weak AoE healing, and we'll see how things go. Basically, they may change numbers. Do know that for the most part, I'm doing these videos with the knowledge that I believe that the abilities are in place. However, it's very possible that damage numbers and healing numbers are definitely going to change. So do not count that out. As I'm going through these patches, there are several videos that I've already done in which there have been lots of changes to their actual damage / healing numbers, their actual coefficients on them. But the abilities have not changed too much, which is what I want to happen, because the main idea for you guys is to get across the idea of what you've lost, what you've gained, what's changed, and how your playstyle is changing, and that's the whole purpose of this. Redemption is now, its cast time has been increased by 0.5 seconds. Same with Holy Shock, it's got some weird numbers in there, but roughly this is the same across most revives across the game, is that their cast time has been increased by 0.5 seconds. I'm not sure why they've done that, it's a change. There's no explanation for it. So with that brings us into the new abilities. First is going to be Absolution. This is basically your Mass Resurrection. They have taken Mass Resurrection away from everybody. So it used to be available to everyone. It used to be a guild ability, and then it was just given to everyone because it was so important. And now they're like, okay, no, 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 we're going to give it to all healers. Um, because healers actually, you know, are the ones that need to be using it. But at the same time, they are restricting, by restricting it to healers, they kind of have to give a little bit back. So in return, there's no longer going to be that debuff. So if your raid wipes, as long as you can get a healer back up with a soul stone, etc., absolution can be cast, and you're in good shape. So that is one of the good things about the new raid-wide revive, is that there's no longer a debuff. But at the same time, it's only available to healers, so you can't just be like, oh, you know, the warlock who soulstoned himself is able to get back up and cast mass res. No, it's gonna have to be a healer that actually is able to pull that off. Aura Mastery is back. I can't remember if it was in a if it was in the talent tree or if it was removed completely, but it has been there. And so Aura Mastery empowers your chosen aura and increases its radius to 40 yards for 8 seconds. And right now I have the Aura Devotion Aura, which is, we'll see in the talent tree, the different auras you can have. Devotion Aura no longer split over the number of allies in the aura. So that's kind of a, I'm going to pull up the talent tree just so I can explain that, so you understand that. Allies within 10 yards take 20% reduced damage split over the number of allies in the aura. So basically it's saying that, you know, that's no longer split. It's just now going to be flat 20% reduction for everybody. And we'll get into that when we actually get into the PvE talent tree. But that's what Aura Mastery will do for you. I'll pop it right here so you can see. And there's the glyphs, which makes me happy. So the glyphs are on the ground now for Aura Mastery, which is really cool. And I'm not sure if that changes per talent. I'll actually switch between them so we can possibly see them throughout this video and see if that's changed. But that's pretty cool. The next new ability is Consecration. Who would have thought that Holy Paladins would have Consecration back again? But they do. Consecration is back. Still works essentially the same. Consecrates the land beneath you, causing 122,000 holy damage over 8.5 seconds to enemies who enter the area. And it's an 8.5 second cooldown, so you know you can always have it active. And this has got a great new visual as well. This is one that I have to show people, or else they'll be completely confused, as I was the first time I saw it. I was like, what is that? Only to find out that it was actually Consecration. So once again, Blizzard really likes paladins. They really like, for paladins, hammers coming out of nowhere and slamming into the ground. So here's Consecration. As you can see, the hammer just slams into the ground, and then there's your Consecration. So that's actually pretty cool. With that, next we have Hand of Reckoning. So they got rid of Righteous Fury, which was your basically like your static taunt or a static threat builder, which makes sense. But instead they gave you Hand of Reckoning, which is a taunt. I'm not quite sure why Blizzard has done this. They've given taunts to every off-spec now. I'm not sure for the reasoning behind it. Just know that they've now given taunts to all the off-specs. So if you are a class that has a tank spec, you're going to get whatever their taunt is, whether you're a healer or a DPS or you're the actual tank. So not sure why they did it, but it's there. A new ability that's actually exciting for healing is Light of the Martyr. You sacrifice a portion of your health to instantly heal an ally for 124,000. You take damage equal to 50% of the healing done. So that's actually a lot of healing. As we looked before, your Flashlight Holy Light heals only for 100,000, whereas this is going to heal for 124,000. It does not cause your Beacon of Light to be healed, and it cannot be cast on yourself, so that's something to take note. So I'm going to go ahead and use this on this healing dummy here, so you can see what it looks like. And there you go, I lost health right there. I can continue to burn off my health just like this. And then I can heal myself back up with good old Holy Light and Flashlight. So, actually, come on. I don't care about the training dummy anymore. I want to heal myself. So, that's, you know, it's an instant cast. So, if someone's in an emergency situation, that is a huge burst heal that you can get off really quick, you know, but sacrifice a little bit of your health. Definitely something that's really nice there for Holy Paladins to have in their arsenal. So, before I get into the big one, which is the Mastery, first you need to know that you have Righteousness, which is your maximum health is increased by 15%. So, I believe the average 110 health pool is somewhere around like 101.4 million, and I'm sitting at 1.65 million, 1.68 million. So that's pretty awesome. Uh, Definitely nice having that maximum health increase, and there's a reason for that, and it's going to be in the mastery that we are discussing. Let's use Ori Mastery here so we can see what it looks like with, what is this, Aura of Sacrifice. You can see right here, I had the nice orb beneath me. That's really cool. So, definitely cool, and then by the time we're done discussing this, we'll see what Aura of Mercy is able to do. So, the only problem with Aura of Mercy is that it's actually an Aura of Healing, so you're going to see these healing numbers kind of constantly tick, but that might actually help explain this next one. Mastery Lightbringer. Proximity to your target causes your spells to heal for up to 20% more. I'm not sure if this actually works in terms of Aura of Mercy. I do not think it does, because as I get closer to these, they are not healing for any more than 3,200 per. But this explains the positioning. You are going to want to be close to your targets when you're healing. This really changes how you do things in PvE. As a PvP Holy Paladin, I always envisioned PvP Holy Paladins as being kind of in the thick of things, and so they always had to heal, kind of, in the middle of everyone. That's how I always, you are the plate healer, you have to be able to heal in the middle of everyone, okay? You're the only plate healer. And because of that, you were able to withstand some damage and still deal the healing. And now they've really made it like that, okay? The closer you are to your targets, the more you're going to heal. If you want to heal a target for, main tanking, it's really going to depend on, how close you are to the target. I'm able to heal for 110,000 right here. Okay, 111,000. I'm going to move up real close, see if we can show it off here. Get a good idea, 121,000. So that is the difference with this new healing. And I personally like it. I think it changes things. It makes things different. It really kind of gives Holy Paladin its really kind of own play style. It separates it from a Holy Priest, which Holy Priest is the only other type of healer, I think, that has the kind of two healing combo where you have like a slow heal that, is mana efficient, and then a fast heal that is inefficient. Most of the other healers are healing in a different form. Druids with their hots. Mistweaver is completely different, I think, now. Or, yeah. Mistweaver is pretty different now from at least how it felt before. So things have changed. You're a battle healer now. You have these abilities to attack in the middle of combat. They're given to you baseline. You're able to attack targets and deal damage, and at the same time, depending on your positioning, heal people. Now, do know that Light of Dawn, it's a static position. It doesn't follow you. So wherever you launch off that Light of Dawn is where it's going to heal. So as you can see, I moved to the left here. Doesn't make a difference. The heal's still going to heal right in front of me. And that's mostly because it's a one-time heal, so they're just making sure that the visual effect shows in front of you like that. But basically, that's what you can expect out of a Holy Paladin. It's all about your positioning. It's really, I think, going to change how Holy Paladins raid, because they may be up in front dealing damage now, in addition to like maybe main tank healing or something. It's really going to change how you approach battles. It's going to change, I think, less in PvP, because PvP they already are kind of battle mages, in my opinion, like kind of battle healers, and so that isn't changing too much. But for the most part, Holy Paladins, I think, will see a significant shift in how they work out in PvE. So with that being said, let's look at this last Aura Mastery right here. So you can see what it looks like, and that is a beautiful spell visual underneath, really nice looking. I really do like that. And with that, let's go ahead and look into the artifact weapon. Now, the artifact weapon is named, let's go ahead and get the name of it here. It is just known as the Silver Hand. I don't know the legend behind this one, but it definitely sounds like something tied to Uther. I'm going to have to go test this out. Test the actual class quest out to actually get this weapon. It'll be pretty cool. Let me warn you, this is a warning to healers in general that I really haven't given in the other videos, but when you're leveling, artifact weapon power, if you really plan on being a raid healer, you may want to level as a Holy Paladin. You might level as something else, but artifact weapon power is something that can be difficult to come by, and leveling as a different class may be difficult. However, you do get a lot of items in which you actually have to apply to the weapon that you have equipped. So maybe you can just stockpile all those up while you're leveling, and then get the other artifact weapon and then pile them all on that when the time actually comes. That could be something you do. Just a little word of caution and warning there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at the ability that actually comes with this artifact weapon. It's going to be Tears Deliverance. Releases the light within the silver hand for 10 seconds, healing an injured ally within 15 yards for 32,000 every 0.9 seconds. Allies healed also receive 20% increased healing from your Holy Light and Flashlight spells for 10 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and use Flashlight here. You can see Flashlight's healing for 121,000 because I'm really close. And then I'm going to go ahead and use Tears Deliverance right there, just like that. And then from there, I'll be able to heal quicker like that. You can see it hitting this target on the right here and on the left. You can see the visual. So that's really cool how that spell visual is showing up there. So with that, let's go ahead and look into the artifact weapon tree. With the artifact weapon tree, you will begin at the bottom here, where Tears Deliverance is, and then you'll work your way up. There are 3 epic portraits. These are kind of the big wigs that you kind of want to have in your arsenal. Otherwise, the rest of them are more minor, like damage or healing buffs. So we'll start here. We already saw Tears Deliverance. We have Virtues of the Light. Critical strike chance increased by 3%. We have Second Sunrise. Light of Dawn has a 15% chance to cast a second time for no additional mana cost. I've never seen that actually happen. Oh, there we go. I'm so lucky that I got the RNG on my side that time. That's 3 ranks, so that's 5% per rank, and each time, so first it'll start with 5%, then 10%, then 15%, so that'll be 3 ranks. You have Templar of the Light. Increase the duration of Aura Mastery by 2 seconds. You have Knight of the Silver Hand. After Judgment strikes an enemy, all damage you take for the next 4 seconds is reduced by 10%. So this is really playing into the battle, the battle healer. That's really cool. And then over here we have Vindicator. Activating Avenging Wrath. Increases critical healing by 25% for 10 seconds. So I'm not sure if that was actually, it doesn't look like it was actually in there, in the tooltip there. So that's even better, more critical healing out of it, so that's pretty good. In the middle here, we have Shock Treatment, increases the critical strike chance and critical healing of Holy Shock by 24%. On the left here, we have Deliver the Light, increases the healing done by Holy Light and Flashlight by 10%. 3 ranks, so it's going to be like 3, 7, and 10, or 3, 6, and 10. We have our first epic here, which is Power of the Silver Hand. Holy Light and Flash of Light have the chance to, let me find where these are, I'm going to start spamming them, have a chance to unlock the power of the Silver Hand, increasing the healing of your next Holy Shock by 20% and all damage and effective healing you do within the next 10 seconds. I haven't seen this pop up, but maybe I can get it to pop at some point and we will be able to see it. So I'm just going to spam this here and see if we can actually get it to work. I will move on to the others though. Over here we have Focused Healing, reduces the cooldown on Lay on Hands by 30%. So there's the 10 minutes down to 7 minutes. It occurs in this talent tree, so if you want that, you have to go to the right here to grab this as quickly as possible. Over here we have Protection of Tear. Aura Mastery also increases all healing received by party or raid members within 40 yards by 15%. So that just really buffs Aura Healing, makes a powerful heal for raids and PvP. In the middle here we have Protection of the Light. Increases the duration of Divine Protection by 4 seconds. So whereas before I said that it only lasted 8 seconds, it's now up to 12 seconds, and that is mostly going to be through this ability right here. It comes through the talent tree once again. So there's another buff to an ability that comes through the talent tree. And so far I have not seen a buff actually appear on my bar or the target, so I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get it, or if it's bugged, or it maybe doesn't show up. Oh, wait a minute, second, right here. Vengeance Aura, full loss of control effect increases the Paladin's holy damage from critical strike. Whoa, that's pretty cool. Not sure where that comes from, to be honest. It could be an actual talent of mine that I have not shown up in here. I have not picked up in here somewhere. On the left-hand side, we have Expel the Darkness, increases healing done by Light of Dawn by 10%, so a straight buff on Light of Dawn right there. We have Blessings of the Silver Hand, reduces the cooldown of Blessings of Freedom, Protection, and Sacrifice by 15%. I mentioned that earlier with Blessing of, I believe it was Sacrifice, how it was lower than 3 minutes, and this is where it comes from. 3 ranks, 5% per rank. Your last epic right here is when the health of your beacon of light target falls below 50%, your next holy light or flashlight on the target beacon on the target will heal for an additional 100%. Can occur only once every 30 seconds. So that's basically an emergency, you know, like your beacon's going down, oh my gosh, can I quickly get a heal off on this character, and that's basically what it's going to be used for. So that's pretty cool. Here we have Share the Burden, reduces the damage you take from Blessing of Sacrifice by 30%, 10% per rank. And then lastly we have Justice Through Sacrifice, increases the healing done by Light of the Martyr by 15%, which of course in turn also increases the amount of damage done to you by a certain amount. So that's pretty cool what we have there for this artifact weapon, the Silver Hand. I really think Holy Paladins are going to be interesting with the positioning requirements, and I think Holy Paladins will enjoy it. It's a different playstyle, I think, than they will be used to in PvE. I think it's going to impact PvE more than it does PvP. PvP, I think you're going to be used to being up in close quarters range, healing people, so that won't change too much. But in PvE, I think it will kind of change how you look at PvE and how you actually raid heal. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was long. I spent a little bit too much time being really excited about this Lights Hope Chapel and this massive temple they have down here. In the next video, we will look at the PvE and PvP changes coming to Holy Paladin in World of Warcraft Legion. Otherwise, I will see you guys later. Teal us out.